It's October 13th, 2025, and I'm over here at TeWinkle Middle School subbing English today. So this day is going splendidly so far. The teacher has 5 periods, and the first 2 came and went, and they were honors ELA. And we did chapter 1 of The Outsiders. And this really takes me back 17 years when I was a student at Ensign when I was in 8th grade, and we read this book. And all of a sudden I'm feeling like I'm back in like September, October 2008 again. And so several students are nice and respectful, asking me to see magic tricks or sleight of hand tricks all day. And it is October 13th, 2025, and just a small interjection, it is the 250th birthday of the United States Navy. I've been making posts about it, and I posted a video of me playing Anchors Away from East Bluff Elementary. And my grandfather and his brother proudly served in the United States Navy. And truth be told real quick, a decade ago, for several years, I had an aspiration to join the United States Navy. I talked to a couple of Navy recruiters, but I was just so busy and bogged down with college, and then I knew I was going to go to university later, so it just didn't work out. But I do give my salute to the United States Navy and all the branches of the United States military. As always, I say thank you for your service. Whoa, 2 classes down and 3 more to go. And so that's a wrap. The remaining 3 periods were 8th grade ELA classes, and there was a co-teacher, so she and I were teaching together. And it was the same thing, just read chapter 1 of Outsiders, which again brings me back in time to 2008. During my downtime, like breaks, or even when the audio was playing, I was doing a lot of math. I am tutoring Enhanced Math 3 tomorrow, so I was just brushing up on polynomials and synthetic division, irrational zero theorem, and factor theorem, and remainder theorem, and all those theorems. And the student whom I'm tutoring came here, and now he's at Estancia. But that's all fun. I love mathematics. So again, this day went well. A couple of the 5 periods got a couple of tricks at the end of the class. Just to say, I do sleight of hand tricks for incentives. So as always, thankful that I was here at TeWinkle. It's October 14th, 2025. I'm back over here at TeWinkle doing math on this rainy day. And so I'm in here in the PLTW room, Project Lead the Way, and it's good to be back in here. It is a very spacious room, and I was here a couple of times subbing in the past few years, but for other teachers. So the first 3 periods were math classes, and they were working on a study guide all about proportional relationships, constant proportionalities, application problems, graphs, and all that fun stuff. And I was getting to tutor several students all 3 periods. And that's my specialty, enjoy. So I was skimming through the new math curriculum that they're using these days, the Imagine Math. They used to do the McGraw-Hill Illustrative Mathematics, and that's what I did my student teaching out of a couple of years ago. So it's just something new. But then I was looking on the shelf, I noticed that they had the Prentice Hall Mathematics California Algebra 1. This is exactly the same textbook that we used when I was a freshman at Newport Harbor High School back in 2009 and 2010. And then after the math classes, there are 3 periods for design and modeling, and they're just making a bunch of measurements in 3 dimensions in both inches and centimeters. So 2 down and 1 to go for that, and then I'll be done for today. So thankful that I was here at TeWinkle. But real quick, rain or shine, I have 3 hours of tutoring today. It's October 15th, 2025. I'm over here at Paularino Elementary subbing preschool today.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on his farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O.
So this day is tremendously remarkable. When I came in here this morning, there were 3 aides, and I said, it's good to be back after 25 years. Because when I heard that I was going to be subbing in room 21, I instantly recognized it. So this was my kindergarten class 25 years ago, a quarter century ago, and is remarkable to be back, and I'm reliving a plethora of memories from being inside this classroom and out of the classroom and in the NPR. And so much has changed in the school, but there are some things that still remain the same. In this classroom now, I notice all the colors on the back of the wall, and I remember when I was in kindergarten here, there were cats, and two cats were pouring paint on another cat, and they were mixing colors, for instance, blue and yellow and green. So there were stations or rotations throughout the day, and I was in charge of one of the three groups, like using Play-Doh to trace out letters or breakfast, and coloring specifically to trace out lines or loops or zigzags. There's a time of today when they were going over a letter. Today's letter was M, so all the things that start with M. I remember being in kindergarten in this classroom and having similar lessons. But back in the day, like for instance, we had Cheerios and we would trace out the letter O on paper and glue them. So I still remember a lot of strategies that my teachers used back in the day. And so this day is divided into two classes. There's a morning class and an afternoon class. So far so good, and it's great to be back at Paularino. During the break between the two classes, surprise, the principal comes in with my former principal from over 20 years ago, and it was good to run into him again. I saw him a couple of years ago. He went on into the district and got a doctorate degree and such, and so he used to be the director of elementary education. I'm not exactly sure what he is now, but he's still working with the district, so it's good to catch up with him. He's like, tell me everything. I'm like, well, I got a master's degree, I'm still subbing, waiting to hear back on job applications, and so it was wonderful to see him again. So this day went very well, and again I was reliving a plethora of memories. In fact, I was thinking of a time when my kindergartner teacher said, in this classroom we are all friends. Then one of the aides said the same exact thing, we are all friends, twice. There was another time in both sets of classes that they were checking the weather. So they were looking outside the window to check the weather, exactly what we did 25 years ago. There's one part of the day during breakfast when I was just looking around the classroom in amazement, and one of the preschoolers asked me, what are you thinking of? So he figured, so I told him, well, this was my classroom 25 years ago, so I was just reliving a lot of memories and seeing what's the same and what's different. For the afternoon class, we went over to the mini playground, and that's where we went to in kindergarten, just completely different playground, but same location where we went to. And today was walk to school day, so there's a lot of families walking their children over to Paularino Elementary, and the principal, whom I met at Ensign a few years ago, dressed up like a stoplight. And that reminded me when I was in kindergarten, when we learned about stoplights, and we had to make one out of paper, and then at the end my kindergarten teacher went on top of a bench and we played like red light, green light. So as always, I'm glad that I was at Paularino. It's Thursday, October 16th, 2025, and I'm back over here at TeWinkle for the third time this week, subbing science today. So there were 6 classes, all physical science. 2 of them were honors, and they were just doing a worksheet and a packet all about force, net force, and friction and all that stuff. So today was the great shakeout drill, and the teacher had prep, but the teacher and I had to go over to the field anyway, which was right behind us. And the teacher was there, but had a meeting, so I was just covering for her. And I also found out that she went to Vanguard University just like me. So TeWinkle usually plays music 1 minute before the bell rings, and for the great shakeout drill, they were playing Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. And that takes me back 10 years, because in the fall of 2015, I would listen to that while doing chemistry homework. Now, something peculiar, you might be wondering, why am I not doing this at the school? Well, I have to respect the teacher's wishes, and she kindly asked me not to film in her class, so I had to respect that. And here's something very interesting I want you to append. I kid you not, every single day now, inside and outside of school, people are recognizing me from being on the news, and they say, hey, I saw you on the news, and several students said that, and that's because I go all over the world virtually speaking about autism, disability awareness, acceptance, and inclusion. And I've been going out talking about my story as a substitute teacher and as an autistic, and my books that I wrote. And in fact, yesterday I was at Starbucks right before I went to tutor, and there's an employee from Jersey Mike's whom I know, and he said, hey, I saw you on the news with my buddies. And he was like, hey, I know that guy, he goes to our Jersey Mike's. So I feel very blessed for the opportunity to go not just across the country on the news, but across the world on news, radio, podcasts, and also magazines. And I feel like it's my mission to spread this message to as many people as possible, and hopefully 8 billion people. And my goal has been to be in every single school in Orange County, public and private. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out yet, but So far, I've spoken to over 12,000 students in Orange County, and a 500,000 more to go. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to John Adams Elementary in Santa Ana Unified to speak to a couple of classrooms. In the meantime, I'm subbing, and I have extra time to do these volunteer assemblies. I never ask for a penny, much less a nickel or a dime for them, because I feel like my message is very important, and I have been told that I change lives. I have received the compliments that, what I said, what I did, was the first thing that a child tells their parents after when they get picked up. And I know that there's a lot of testimonials about that. And so as long as I'm still subbing, my primary goal right now is to continue my mission to be in every single school in NMUSD. I've already spoken to quite a few. I sent a lengthy email to Costa Mesa Middle and High School, to quite a few people over there, the principals and the APs, and I have not yet heard back. I've been talking to the principal at Newport Heights Elementary for years. I've been communicating with the principal at TeWinkle the past couple of years, and even this year she said that she would talk to the PTA on my behalf. I've just been trying my absolute best for years to speak in every single school voluntarily all across Newport Mesa Unified School District, such as Newport Harbor High School, Corona Del Mar Middle and High School, Ensign Intermediate, Estancia, and pretty much everywhere else that I haven't been to yet. So if you're watching and have connections, please remind the principals and the PTA presidents about me. And that's because I've been trying to get a hold of Harbor Council PTA again, but failed. But I will put the screenshot of an email that I received, and it kind of explains for itself that I am on the right track and I have made a difference in people's lives for autism and disability awareness, acceptance, appreciation, and inclusion. And it's October 17th, 2025, and I'm over here at Davis Magnet again, subbing a half day for 6th grade. It's great to be back at Davis Magnet. This is the first time all academic year. When I walked in, the teacher said that everyone was excited when they heard earlier that I was going to be subbing this afternoon. So they're doing ratios and math games, and right before lunch I got them all seated and I did a couple of card tricks and left them flabbergasted. Right at the end of one of the tricks I got a deja vu moment, because I felt like I was here before, and I was actually. Last year I sat for the same teacher and everything just seemed exactly the same with that trick. And no one else to explain it but deja vu. I was sitting in the back and getting memories from 6th grade myself, remembering what our teacher did the first day. Actually, I'm remembering right now another thing that my teacher did the first day that we'll never forget. I was looking at all the artwork and I'm like, that's the same exact art project that we did when I was in elementary school. So my speaking engagement in Santa Ana this morning went well. It was the first time over at John Adams Elementary. It was their career day, so we had a scientist, a photographer, a DJ, a flight attendant, and I was there as entrepreneur because I'm an author to 2 books. I'm a writer. I talked about balancing life, living as an autistic with everything else that I do, and that includes substitute teaching and getting teaching credentials. I talked all about that and giving all the advice that I give in these volunteer assemblies. So I spoke in 2 classrooms this morning, and some students from special education were there as well. So it was a great experience, and I thank Adams Elementary. And so to everyone watching, remember that disability or not, anyone can do whatever they set their heart and mind to do, as long as it's practical. Never give up on what you want to do and who you want to be in life. And sometimes we gotta learn to go through things instead of around things, and adopt patience as a result. I told those students today that I spent 11 years in college after high school, and that got me a couple of degrees, a math credential, including a master's in education. And I found that the outcome is greater when you take your time to go through things instead of cheating around them. And that's part of my big message that I have for everyone. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, you're still here? Well, let me tell you something real quick. I wasn't going to address it, but I have no choice now. I hear this notorious joke every single day, no matter where I go. It's infiltrated the schools and my tutoring for weeks. I just hear it about 6 or 7 times every waking hour.